Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I have tried to film this 2 times before this, so just bear with me guys. The angles weren't working, the video crapped out, it's been some time. So, sorry for the weird angle, but best lighting that we have. So, I want to first say thank you guys for the comments on the last video. I know that it was a hard case to listen to that we covered, and I say we because you guys have suggested the case, and just researching it, and I remember watching it on TV and just kind of having that open conversation with you guys in the comments has been really, really nice, and you guys have been really respectful, so I appreciate that too. But yeah, it's been an interesting time having conversations with you guys in the comments, and I absolutely love it. And I apologize, my window is open, so if you hear a dog barking on the street, that is why. Okay, so this might be another heavy video. I might, you know what, I'm gonna put a trigger warning on this, because I know some people can, this could trigger some people, so just gonna forewarn you guys, I am gonna put a trigger warning on for just, I don't even know the word that I'm gonna put. It's gonna be hard to explain, but we are talking about a heavy topic of basically bullying and just abuse from a higher power. So if you guys are triggered by that and you guys have trauma with that, this video might not be for you, so you might want to just exit out, and I will be back with another video soon. I am going to do a Q&A, so if you guys have questions, leave comments below. I just figured we might, lighten up the conversation, so, ask some fun, silly questions, and we'll do that video next, just to liven up a few things. We've had a few heavy topics. So, what I mean by this is by having basically bullying and like abuse from a higher power is when I was in high school, and I have a lot of shit and a lot of stories and experiences, so I apologize when I go back and forth from true crime cases and these cases and to the present time and all over the place. It's just, when you guys leave comments and then we have a conversation, I feel like doing a video, it's better if I explain it when a certain question comes up, rather than just comment, because you might not get the whole thing and it might not come across as the way that you want it to. Anyways, sorry for my rambling. But this was basically a question in a few videos ago that, did this actually happen? And I commented back and said, yes, but it wasn't, that wasn't the worst thing that they said. So what I mean by this is a teacher in my high school, and this was actually really, absolutely, I think, one of the more pivotal moments in my high school years that really shook me. And so there was a story that I told on here, guys, about helping one of my friends. They were injured. It was a whole fucking thing. I think it's 3 videos ago, if you guys are looking for that. And basically I got suspended, or in school suspension. I got in trouble, and people, when I said in that video that I could breathe wrong or look in the wrong direction and I would get in trouble, that is literally what it got down to. And as crazy and far-fetched as that sounds, that was my life, especially in the last 2 years of my high school life. I fought hard for my scholarship, and I was honestly proud of it at the time, but it ended up being another shit show, but welcome to my life. Um, but at that time, I was really, really fucking proud of it. Like, that was like my pride and joy that all the bullshit that I was going through was worth it because I had this scholarship. It meant that, I actually, held good grades. I worked my butt off for it. That, I could amount to something type of thing. It was a really big thing. So when one of the teachers that was basically behind supporting me getting the scholarship, that I wouldn't say sponsored, but had a big hand in picking me for the scholarship. Um, basically, I don't even know how to phrase this. Basically, got sick and tired of all the bullshit that was going on with, the group of six, me constantly getting into trouble or being blamed for something that I literally was not involved in, but somehow got roped into it. I did everything that I was told that I had to do to keep the scholarship. We had that no contact order that wasn't really official, but the school said it that, I couldn't have any contact with any of the people in the group of six and they couldn't have contact with me. But that ended up being bullshit because I literally had a class with literally one or all of them. But I remember just being fed up with it. So my ex was in my cooking class, and it was like a real shitty time. The school would tell us, we had to work out our shit, we had to talk. I just couldn't figure it out. So when my ex, he was kind of cozying up to me and stuff, and I wasn't leading him on at all. I wasn't like being like, come back to me. You know, I had to be civil because of many things. I didn't want to get suspended. I didn't want to get in trouble. If I did something wrong, like, I had to be civil. I wasn't, talkative to him. I was just like, I was civil. And lo and behold, like, I just fucking would get paired with this asshole all the fucking time. Like, I don't know how. I got a watermelon booze drink because this is where this conversation is going. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't. Anyways, you know, and when his girlfriend would come into class and just be like, I'm a whore, and like to me, and just call me all these profanities that I was trying to basically fuck my ex in the class, like, really. And she would storm out, and I would literally be on the opposite end of the classroom. And this was allowed. The group of sixes ladies were allowed to do whatever the fuck they wanted. They were allowed to do whatever the fuck they wanted, and nobody got in trouble except for me. So, of course, lo and behold, I get sent to the office. I'm the one in trouble again. I'm the one that gets sent home for some stupid reason. So, I remember having to go pick up my books and stuff, and just honestly, whatever. So I was just done with it. I was just like, whatever. So I had to go to my baking class, which was next door. And so this teacher was, again, in charge of one of the teachers that gave me the scholarship or handpicked me or whatever. And I had to get my baking book from him. Excuse me. And nobody was in the class. Okay. I think this was like lunchtime. I can't even remember, but I vividly remember this conversation. So I go in and I just said, hey, I am being sent home for the rest of the day, and I'm just here to collect my books. I'll finish the school, the homework, and you'll have it, because I think this was on a Friday, so I would hand it in on the Monday. And my teacher was literally sitting at the desk, turned around. Okay, so his back was kind of turned, like he was to the side. So he turned and faced me. He's like, "Don't talk. I'm done." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And like, he's like, "I'm just so disgusted by your behavior and what you're doing. I'm just disgusted by you. Collect your stuff and get out of my classroom. I'm done with you and your behavior. You're disgusting. You're a disappointment." And I just, honestly, at that point, was just utterly just in shock that this adult, this person who, like, you know, I not necessarily looked up to, but respected, because he was such a really good baker and a teacher, and I respected him for that, and, you know, what I could learn from him and all of that, and I respected that I had that opportunity to have this scholarship. And just to be completely like, what? Like, I felt so disappointed in myself. I was just like, what the fuck are you doing, Jess, with your life? Like, you didn't do anything. And yet you'll become being called a disgusting human being by an adult, by a teacher that you respected. Like, what does that say about you? And I remember grabbing my books, and my locker was across the fucking school. Like, I had to go, like, book fuck nowhere to go to my locker. And I didn't even make it to my locker. I remember just hauling ass to the bathroom, sorry, TMI, and throwing up and hyperventilating in this stall alone. The floor was cold, the walls were cold. I was just utterly alone. And this is where it gets even more fucking worse. So I was in the last stall in the bathroom, and where I was sitting, you couldn't see who was in the stall. Like, I was in the fucking corner, just hyperventilating. And I heard somebody come in. Okay. And like, I got good at staying quiet, especially like crying and not making a sound. That sounds really sad, but true. Anyways, so I was sitting in this corner, and I heard somebody come in. And then somebody else came in. And they were standing around the sink, I could tell. And one of the voices was of somebody who I thought I trusted. And basically was telling her two other friends that her plan worked, that the group of 6 suggested to her to get me into trouble and, you know, basically just act like a friend to me. And the kicker was, she was in the next door classroom helping with the lunchtime rush and putting away stuff. So she heard everything that this teacher said to me. So guess what? Yep, it got spread real quick. So by Monday morning, I remember walking into the school, regrettably walking into the school. I didn't want to, but, had to. And I remember just having eyes on me. Excuse me. And that wasn't very unusual. Word spreads fast around that school. Like most schools. And I remember walking to my first class and just sitting down. And this happened to be my baking class. And the girl that I thought was my friend was also in there. And she was trying to warm up to me and be all supportive and, like, I couldn't believe they sent you home type of thing. And some jackass just piped up and being like, hey, Jess, I heard you were a disgusting human being. Like, even adults in your life think you're that. Like, some stupid comment like that. And my baking teacher, laughed at that. And it's just, like, it got to that point where it's just like, okay, what else can happen, Like, you got a teacher who's respectable that literally called somebody, a young adult, a disgusting human being, and is now laughing about it. Like it's some practical joke. And I just, yeah. So, when the teacher said, don't talk to me, like, I'm just done with you, he pretty much was. He didn't talk to me. I was very isolated. And, he just gave up on me. As a student, as a human being, as a soul, I don't know. He just gave up on me. I was a lost cause. And it just utterly, honestly, I don't even have words for it to describe what I felt, and what I still feel. Dealing with the PTSD that came along with a lot of shit that went on in my high school years, it's a heavy fucking weight to carry. It just, sucks, because I always feel like I'm trying 10 times harder just to not even get like a praise by anybody, just to kind of prove to I don't fucking know who at this point that I'm a not disgusting human being, that I'm worth being here type of thing. And I know, like, that, the killer is, after my high school years, and I went back to my high school just for a visit, just to, because I had to pick up some paperwork and stuff, and I ran into an assistant that helped in the baking, and she loved me. She took me under her wing, and she wanted me to come to the classrooms and stuff and see the teachers, and I did. And just to be turned around and said, "Oh, good, you're alive," by that exact teacher that called me a disgusting human being, kind of just, I don't know. It was just like, oh, like, just to be like, "Oh, I'm glad you're alive," type of thing. Like, you didn't off yourself, you know, good on you. And then kind of make a half-ass apology that, like, "Oh, we should have been there for you," and all that bullshit. And it's just like, like, I don't even know how to feel about that. Like, processing that is just kind of like, I don't know. There's no, like, what can you say to that? Like, "Oh, oops." Like, that was basically the whole justification of it, was like, "Oops, pat on the back, I'm glad you're alive," type of thing. And it's just like, really, you're gonna half-ass it. You're going to be like, "Wow, you actually made something of yourself." Like, they were literally shocked that I was breathing and doing shit with my life. Like, they were, like, impressed. They're like, "Oh my god, you're not a disgusting human being. Like, you're actually capable of doing something," And it's just like, ugh. Like, just thinking about it, and, like, I don't know. Like, how can you justify that? Saying that? How can you justify being a teacher and saying that? How can you justify that and being a human being and saying that? And be okay with it. And then later around turn and go, "Oops, my bad." Like, what? Like, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. You know, I honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why, like, I tried to shut everything down and just not focus on dealing with my trauma at the time, and then just, like, punishing myself. Because there was a lot of angles, there was my abusers, and then there was situations like that was just like, "Well, you're pretty much gonna amount to nothing. You're a disgusting human being. Like, I give up on you." Like, and that kind of made me give up on myself, type of thing. And I'm not saying that one instance, there was a lot more from different teachers too. And it's just fucking crazy, you know, that I I do not wish that on anybody. And my heart breaks for people that deal with this shit. Because I know how alone and isolating and just devastating it can be. And, a lot of people can just sit there and be like, "Oh, well, suck it up, princess." Like, they're just words. But the fact is that words do hurt. They do have a impact, on things, on people. And it's just not something easily you can shrug off and be like, fuck them. It's not that simple. It sounds fucking simple, and you can honestly say that. I'm like, fuck them. But it eats at you internally, and it weighs on you, and it does change you as a human being. And just to have that constantly playing in the back of your head does impact you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm not affected by any of that shit anymore. I'm still affected by that shit 10 years later. There are some days, when I make a mistake or something, that voice in the back of my head comes and be like, Jess, you're a fuck up, you're a disgusting human being, you're nobody. And it sucks that shit sticks with you. And why I put pressure on myself. I don't put as much pressure as I used to, but the factor is I still put pressure on myself to be a perfect human being. And the fact is, there is no such thing as a perfect human being, but I put pressure on myself just to just to be better. And there was a time where I'm not saying that I'm like super outgoing now, but like I literally shut down. I wasn't being silly and outgoing and just myself, because that made me feel like you can't do that. Like, if you're gonna be silly and stuff, like, no wonder you're a disgusting human being, that type of thing. But now that I know that I'm not, and I value myself, again, not saying every day is rainbows and butterflies, but I am a little bit more outgoing. I am silly, and I can make jokes and just be myself without hating myself. Again, not every day is like that, but it's a process, and it's always going to be a process, and it sucks that that I have to do this, that it is a process, and it just sucks. Not gonna sugarcoat it. It honestly sucks dealing with all of that baggage. But anyways, guys, wow, that was smooth. That's another story time video, kind of heavy, but yep, that did happen. Anyways, guys, so next video is gonna be a little bit more later, so feel free again to leave questions below. Make them fun, make them silly, make them different, and let's have some fun next video, and let's not be so serious and depressing, because damn, girl or boy, human, you. Anyways, guys, remember, never give up, always keep fighting. You are enough, and you are very much loved. Until the next video, guys, stay safe, stay silly, stay yourself. Bye.